welcome to another episode of Paul's Asian Adventure. I have here with me Gio from Gio in the Philippines.
Hello.
And we just did a road trip, and one thing I wanted to talk about was the comfort zone. One thing I've noticed, and all of us that live in Dumaguete have noticed, is there's a lot of foreigners there.
Yeah.
And my belief is that a lot of people watch vloggers, and there's a lot of vloggers in Dumaguete, and they have a comfort zone there. They know things. People come visit. They recognize the different restaurants, the roads, and so they have a comfort zone in a way that they feel that it's kind of home.
Right.
But just as we were driving here, we've seen so many gems. The roads here, the trees, the nature, and Iloilo. There was so much beautiful stuff that, I mean, if I didn't have my my wife wasn't from the area she's from, living in Dumaguete, I would probably consider moving somewhere else. But because of family and a lot of other reasons, I live in Duma.
Right.
And so kind of wanted to talk about that. What's your experience with that?
Yeah, I mean, the same. I mean, in these cities, you watch vloggers, like I watched Rike, and I watched about Cebu and Dumaguete and Bohol, and those were just the places that kind of stood out, and you almost feel like you already know the place before you've even arrived yet.
Like I was watching two vloggers before I came, and that's why I chose Dumaguete, to be honest. And once I settled in Dumaguete, I liked it. But I see Dumaguete now, it's very polluted. It's very trafficated, and it's become so full of foreigners. It barely resembles a Filipino town anymore. And I think there's other places, such as Iloilo as an example, that would be a much better place. Because, for example, we went to visit that Mega World, which was like a beautiful town with all beautiful restaurants, really great food, malls, everything. You had Landers, which is like a Costco type of deal. And to me, that would be a much better place to start, at least.
Yeah, it really would be. So. I call that the expat bubble and like a soft landing. Expat bubble, but I really did hardly saw any expats there.
No.
So.
And of course, if there's no expat, if you're a single guy, it's a big advantage, right?
Sure. Yeah. The less expats, the more of a gem.
Newness, newness that you have for the women. Yeah.
Yeah, in Dumaguete, I've noticed it's not that you can't date and find a good girl there. It's just less easy because they're so used to foreigners.
And also some of these girls have dated multiple foreigners.
Right.
And maybe their expectation is higher than someone who's never dated a foreigner.
Yeah, that's very true.
And also the excitement for me, I remember when I first started dating Mia, she never dated a foreigner, and just taking her to a nice restaurant, going places where her face lit up, it's kind of, it's for the other person, it's exciting too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what would you say about this trip here? Do you have anything to say about it?
It was a lot of fun. It was just taking the motorbikes and going through over the mountain and the beautiful nature
and all the pine trees.
All the pine trees
kind of surprised me.
Yeah, you don't really see pine trees here except for really up and elevated. Yeah. So
there's some beautiful nature. This drive is really, we drove down to San Carlos, and at San Carlos we did a left to go over the mountains. So that's a route I would really recommend for anybody staying in the in the Dumaguete, Bacong area. So.
And I head to Bacolod and take a ferry over to Iloilo and explore. You got a lot of Boracay is not that far from there, and there's other islands, Gigantes Island, Guimaras Island, so all kinds of
Again, I think people are in their comfort zone, and some people tend to just stay put, like in Bacong, Dumaguete, and hardly ever leave. And there's so much to explore, and we're
There
just exploring this island. There are other islands like Lausanne. I've heard so many beautiful places in Lausanne that I want to personally visit. And there's the Polog, there's other places very close to Negros Oriental, and Sikihor, of course, Bohol, and in Cebu Island. There's tons of islands just across Cebu Island that are worth visiting. So there are lots of places one can visit. But yeah, this trip was an eye-opener because I did not imagine like Ilo would be that beautiful in the way it was. And even Bacolod is nice, but Ilo was a bit less traffic, more infrastructure, I would say.
And even the roads were, I saw 4-lane roads. 4 lanes in each direction, which is almost unheard of. Proper sidewalks. And
the other thing I noticed is the driving culture is much better. You don't have these people barreling at you on the wrong side of the road, and you have to swipe out of the way in the last second not to die.
All the horns either, you know? I just realized I didn't hear all the...
And not so much, I didn't see many stray dogs either.
Stray dogs either, no.
So just seemed so much higher level of infrastructure. And also professionalism. I thought like the service we got was much better, and they were much more attentive. Than,
That's correct. They were there filling up our water, grabbing our empty plates,
And always looking around to make sure people got what they needed. They weren't like on their phones, constantly on their phones. As some places.
That's for sure.
So I've personally really enjoyed this trip. It's been an eye-opener. It's not that I haven't been other places, but I haven't been any places since really the last part of the pandemic, where it was open, but it wasn't really a lot of people. But
and you know what it felt like? It felt like when the pandemic was going on and we got to go live in Mactan, Newtown, when it really wasn't that occupied. That's how it felt like at in Mega World, Ilo. It felt like pandemic time, except because just a low amount of foreigners, a low amount of people in the
and you've done some. You're going to do some videos on condos there, right?
Yes, I have.
Watch Gio's channel for that. The prices to me were somewhat high, but I think they're very negotiable. The girl kept saying they're negotiable, so you could probably get a 1-bedroom, what would you say, 30, 35 in Mega Worlds?
I think so. She kept pressing the issue. Even she kept saying
it's negotiable.
I can get you a good price.
And one thing I did notice at night when we were walking is that there was very few lights on at the condos, so that would indicate it's not that full.
That's right.
So,
you could tell from outside there was not a lot of lights on. So
and I think probably, but I don't know, but I can imagine healthcare is much better. We saw 2 or 3 clinics in the Mega World. Of course, there's going to be hospitals close by. But one thing I didn't see, which I see in
immigration was also in Mega World. Which is great.
That is fantastic. But one thing I did not see is when you're driving in a Bakong highway, how you're always seeing ambulances forward and backwards, indicating lots of accidents. I think I might have seen 1 or 2 ambulances the whole time we were there.
And they were able to get through the traffic.
It's R80 traffic, so they wouldn't have an issue. But that would indicate that the driving is much safer, obviously.
They seem much more courteous with their drive. Stoplights, with timers. So you pull up to a stoplight, and then you'd have the timer 30 seconds, and proper pedestrian crosswalks.
Very modern city.
Sidewalks.
It's a modern city on par with a Western modern city.
It really was.
Except you're in the Philippines, so you have Filipino prices. And of course, if you're single, you have the Filipino girls. So, this would be a great starter place. Mega World and Ilo for anybody coming down.
I agree.
So, I think with that, we can wrap it up. I think, basically, just to wrap it up, I think I would say, I don't mean this in a bad way, and the Duma get-ins might get on to me, but as a foreigner, you do not want to probably move to Dumaguete as a starter city anymore. 10 years
No.
ago, maybe even 5 years ago, yes. Now it's just full of foreigners. The traffic is horrible. Pollution is horrible.
The traffic has gotten so bad,
Prices have come up a lot.
especially
and,
apartments and stuff.
Several foreigners that I know are leaving. So I think somewhere like Ilo would probably be a better bet.
One more thing I wanted to mention is the Grab taxis that are available.
yes.
Super cheap transportation to get around. You don't even necessarily need a motorbike or a car.
Yeah, so if you don't like driving motorbikes, that Mega will be the perfect place. Grab taxis, we paid something like from $2 to maybe the maximum we paid was like $5.
Yeah.
That was out to that coffee shop. Oh no, that mall that was like 4 or 5 kilometers out.
Yeah, that's right.
So 220 pesos, $4, $4 basically. So you have Grab. So if you have issues walking or issues with balance where you can't drive a bike, this would be the perfect place. Ilo.
In Dumaguete, all you have is the tricycles, and the tricycles in Dumaguete, I think,
are more than
Grab.
It's crazy.
Nice brand new Grab cars.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Anyway, I'm not putting Dumaguete down, but I think it's saturated now. It's to the point where I would not want to live there, and I'm actually considering leaving in time once I get a few projects done there. So anyway, with that, I want to wrap it up and say thank you for watching and thank you for being on my show.
Yeah, pleasure.